Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bigger Picture Podcast. Yes, it has been 2 years.
Woo! Welcome back.
But we got Zhining over here to mark the return of the podcast. And who better to do it with Zhining when we did our first episode
Very true.
4 years ago. You still remember that podcast?
I think it was like 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. It was like 2020,
we
I
were
think.
talking about
Maybe
productivity.
that was the Billy days, bro.
Yeah.
2020 was the
Oh,
Billy
that was the
Billy.
vlog.
That was the vlog. That was Billy
And then
days.
we ended up shifting doing a podcast when you were in Groton and
Yeah.
we did it online.
Yeah.
And now we're back. So
Dude, I've actually been with you throughout your entire content creator journey, bro. Since like day one, bro. Yeah.
real day one.
Dude,
real
I actually really happy that you're doing this again. You know,
yeah.
very inspirational what you're doing. So very.
We're
cool
just
stuff.
we're just here to catch up a little bit. So what has been going on for the past 4 years? Because I know you started a business.
Mhm.
Well, how's that been going?
Well, the past 4 years since we spoke, I think wrapping up my high school experience, traditional boarding school in that sense, living, seeing what New England lifestyle was like, and then moving more slightly to the, Midwest, going to Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon. I went there where I was, I think, really exposed to an environment where, there was a heavy emphasis on engineering and mathematics and like computer science and those like mindsets in such a way, which I feel like I never got to when I was in high school. But I think going to college, it gave me that sort of thing. And I think that was actually a pretty transformative period of time in my life.
So that's when it clicked. Because so Zhining and I, we go way back. We
go way back.
Back in high school, we wanted to start a business together. A Zhao.
Dude, oh my god, I remember that. Dude, I was still on that shit. Like I built the app.
You actually built it? No way.
Me and my two other friends, we built like a mock-up of the app.
Okay.
During like sophomore year, dude, of my college experience.
Wow.
I was just like,
You actually did it. Wow.
no, but it was just so funny.
I mean, do we want to briefly explain what Zhao it is?
Yeah, dude,
It
was funny. Yeah, you go ahead.
No, but what was the final product like? Because when we wanted to do it, we were thinking of finding a restaurant searching app.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah,
What was the end product like?
No, I think the idea is like we kind of wanted to start off with like Yelp was not great for us. It didn't the display looked like it was Facebook, and you wanted like Instagram and TikTok instead of like Facebook.
Yeah.
So I feel like for that whole era, there's a whole new aspect of it to that.
Right.
But then like fucking Belly came out, and we were just like, oh shit, they just did exactly the same shit that we wanted to do. And we were like, still, we could do it better, because the Belly app is clunky, the tech is not so great, but I think ultimately it was just not the right problem to solve,
Because there's already people in their
yeah, and Belly is already doing well, and I have a lot of friends who use it and such, and they seem to enjoy it, and there was no like a big incentive to switch off of it. So I thought like there was just not really a point in like looking at competition like that in that field. Because if I were going to build an app, I might as well see it through and make it cool and stuff. And I just thought, we built it, launched it, got people to use it. But and I think that was a great experience.
Yeah.
Mostly in terms of like learning how to design.
Yeah.
And like the aesthetics of like web and such things. But I think overall it was definitely one of the early learning experiences. I think we had a lot of these like learning experiences, just like trying shit and like not working.
Because that's very interesting. That's one quality I really respect of
Well, you too, actually. You too, my brother.
You just hustle and you go after it, and you don't care if you fail. You did a Korean food place.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
So funny, bro. How do you remember that shit, bro?
Bro, I don't know. I just these things come flowing in. How is that? So you did the chow it didn't go through, and then you.
I mean, we built it, but it
or
was
like
cool,
you did the product, but you realized you don't want to go through it. And
yeah. Well, it's interesting. I feel like well, I'm gonna grab a chocolate real quick, but Is that like allowed? Is that
Yeah, of course. Hey, the point of doing bigger picture again is to make this more of a natural conversation and to discuss with different people, as bright minds like Zhining,
and yourself. I really appreciate that.
To just grow. You know, I think conversation nowadays, there's so many generic things online. People are forcing content. I don't want to force content, bro. I don't want to plan things, overplan things that ruin the natural aspect to it.
Yeah.
That's what connection
A
is.
good discussion kind of just flows along. With
It flows along, and dude, we had a 3-hour dinner before this. We were talking about some amazing stuff. I hope those stuff come back, but if it doesn't matter, because you know it's a lifelong connection. You can hop on BPP like whenever. You know.
BPP, I love it, dude.
Yeah, we're back.
I think well, you know, I'm curious how you think about it too. Like in that sense, like, because I definitely tried a bunch of shit. I don't know. Back when I was younger, when we were going to school together, I was also trying a bunch of shit. You know, publications, magazines, and stuff like that. One that eventually got me kicked out of like school.
This man,
I was like,
back in 5th grade. No, sorry. This man back in 3rd grade.
I think it was fourth or fifth, probably.
No. The first story is this man back in 3rd grade did a movie. No, 4th grade.
No, we were just like playing around. I think literally we were just like horsing around. Like
this
kids,
man
you know?
back in 4th grade directed a movie and connected everyone in the grade, in our class. I think everyone had a role to play.
Hey, it was fun.
That's amazing. I mean, who in 4th grade in the right mind is like directing a movie? Kids nowadays are all doing this thing, and no one. That is just astonishing. But okay, that's only step one.
I think. Yeah.
Second step, this man started a newspaper.
I think that was one of the prouder things I did in like middle school.
And the newspaper was so good. The entire school was.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Was watching, and every Friday we were looking forward to the latest episode. And you're passing it down the street, down the hallway.
Bro, learning sales, bro.
Wow. That's incredible.
Well, it couldn't have been done without the help of all my friends and stuff like that, you know. And I think that's
the
main thing to
ability
learn, though.
for you to organize and channel everyone together for that same purpose. That's a talent. Do you think that is something that's innate, or do you think that's something that just came afterwards?
You know, I'm not really sure on that one.
Like in a sense, like, do you think your parents built that into you, or do you think it's just a very individual thing?
I think for a big part, like, I think there's a big incentive to, you know, internally to just want to do something fun, creative, different. When I was younger, I didn't really think too much about impact and such, but I think that was a time was very pure. In the sense, I really just enjoy the experience of building something and working with other people, organizing and like creating something together. I think that is like a deeply satisfying experience, which has held with me a long time. And low-key, I think I got too into it because I can remember I got like kicked out of like 7th grade for that shit.
I mean, you weren't kicked out for the newspaper. You were kicked out for a fight. But the fight, the situation was. I mean, do you want to go into details a little bit?
Just it was.
Give us a context.
The story goes just like I think I wrote some like inflammatory pieces in general, and then the administration just did not like how it looked and such, and so they were like, "This is controversial opinion. This is insensitive," and you know.
What did you write? I don't remember that one.
It's a mixture of things, you know. It's a mixture of things. Like we
don't
have to go into
political.
Well, it was a mixture of things, but somewhere. But it was, you know, yeah. And then it was just like, it was. I think there was. I don't even remember that. I feel like SHSID was very like, or our middle school or high school, like you know, was a pretty like repressive sort of environment, like kind of like conforming, kind of unitary in the sense. Like it's like like everyone in the grade is like ranked in terms of their GPA. Yeah. Remember that shit?
Of course.
And they would kick out the worst kids. And then you would go to like, there's like all these banners and it says like 横幅, you know, like tells you like how to think.
Yeah, they literally hand us our final grade reports in these envelopes.
Yeah.
And on the envelope, it will write your rank.
Yeah.
Number, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember back
man.
in the day, my dad sent me a goal. You have to be top 30, if not top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wasn't, I would like, there's like a layer of punishment or whatever. And
I
there
know.
was, there was one time I made it to top 15, and that was the proudest moment.
That's amazing.
But that doesn't really encourage, how do I say? I don't think that encourages learning. It's more just
No, I don't think so.
it's this hyper level of competitiveness. You're not really interacting with your friends. You're not building each other up. You're just like
and I felt like I didn't really learn how to learn when I was at SHSID.
Yeah.
We're in like I think SHSID is more of like an extrapolation or generalization of like a very traditional more traditional Chinese educational sort of system in general.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, but I think looking.
Did you write about that in the newspaper?
Partly, I did.
I see.
Dude, the principal had to call me into the office. It was like, and then everything.
I thought it was only because of the fire. Wow.
No, there was a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And then, dude, I gotta tell you, like, and then we were like taught, like, there were a period of time where we were like writing some like humor sketches and stuff like that. And then my friend I had to be called to like the police station and shit, cause like posting shit on WeChat, like stuff he wrote with us on WeChat, and he was like, yeah, it was a whole shenanigan, man. But that was like when I moved online and stuff, but probably not talking about
before
that.
cancel culture.
Yeah, dude. Does that mean I'm like uncancelable, dude? Like, I hope not. I don't cancel, but like it's like, yeah, back then, And then I think I honestly, what do you think about this? It's just the educational system. I think it is an extrapolation like the more traditional conforming educational system, and you're there, and you don't really learn things. You just memorize. You memorize.
You're turned into machines. But this comes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
What makes human different than animals is creativity. What blesses us is the ability to think outside the box, to create art.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is art when we are doing something that is like art. What was the way you put it earlier? Art was about art. Do you remember the exact phrase you used?
Yeah, I think we were discussing about like what art really is in a sense, and to some extent, I think that art is a way. It's both a way of like encapsulating a specific perspective in a moment in time, but also from an artist's lens, it's a sort of craftsmanship.
Yeah.
That you utilize, bringing your lived experiences and whatnot, and to show appreciation and gratitude for the rest of humanity and our civilization.
Right. Civilization. Yeah. My perspective on that was, first of all, if we talk about creation, I believe in creationism, but God created humans and made us in His image. Therefore, our greatest asset as humans is we can create things. We can push past what was conventional and create new things. And that throughout human history, I think it is constant innovation and constant advancements in all sorts of areas that makes us humans special. To the point, but see, I think the level of education when I think about traditional education, public education, when it's suppressing creativity, when it's just about memorization and the robotic system, it is a direct attack to our humanity. What makes humans special is our creativity, but I think it is not being taught.
Yeah. Well, I think, I really think that this is in the terms of an entire educational system in general.
Yeah.
I feel like, when you look at a country maybe more like China, or maybe parts of India where they have the JEE, which is very similar to college entrance exams, which means you cram for specific exams, I think it makes you optimize to become a test taker instead of like a problem solver.
Yeah.
So I think when I was in like, you know, SJSD, I think back in the days, I think both of us, we were like good test takers. You know, you became good at like learning, like just like memorizing patterns and looking at tests. But that is more of like a representation of the actual mechanism of like some universe aspect of the universe itself, you know. You're not really understanding that part, you know. And I think when I got to like high school, that's when I think I'm partly very grateful for that, where I really got a chance to think a bit more deeper on how to actually critically think and think for myself. Even though I would also say that my high school was very much sort of like very left,
college prep,
very left.
Oh,
you know, like very much like extremely on the progressive side of things. Very much so. I think. But that environment of the education that's been passed down through generations, I think allowed me to think more about how to become a problem solver rather than a test taker, you know. And I think going to a place like Carnegie Mellon got me more of that, right? So I think it's that liberal arts education in high school that gave me a perspective on problem solving, and I think it's that sort of engineering perspective in college that gave me the tools you need for problem solving. You know, which I think is interesting, but which I felt like our education lacked back in Shanghai.
Yeah, 100%. I mean and I think the best part about American or our high school experience was we were able to try new things, and to have the space to basically fail, and then just do these things. Like, we have so much free time.
Yeah, man.
I think the free time is what really is a blessing and a curse for different
Did I
people.
tell you, like, when in high school we had to go to like chapel, like church every month?
Oh, really?
Every morning, yeah.
I thought your church or your school's liberal on that side.
No,
I guess
like,
it doesn't contradict.
No, it was we were like an Episcopalian school.
Okay.
Yeah. You go there, sing hymns in the morning. It was quite fun, actually. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone gets to sing together. It's kind of fun, but my singing is horrible. But, you know.
Every day or every month?
I can't really remember. I think Wednesdays were off and Saturdays were off.
Wow. So you're there quite often?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you ever get tired of that? They're making you...
I missed it a bunch, man.
Really?
Yeah, when you miss, like, things you have to go to, like, chapel or class, you have these things called demerits. They had a thing, like, it's like a point system or some shit. But, like, I think I racked up so many demerits throughout the semester. It was, like, me and, like, my friend down the hall. Like, once you get 6 demerits, so you miss, like, 3 classes or whatever, you get 6 demerits, you have to go on Sunday morning, like, 8 a.m. to, like, clean the floors and, like clean shit up, you know, and be like a janitor basically for like a day. And I was there every Sunday. I was there every Sunday, man.
How do you miss
like every other Sunday I was there?
Okay.
And then when I'm there, I see my friend there too. You know, I just like, oh, okay, like we're both here, dude. You know? Yeah.
That's high school days, man. But that's interesting. So, like, in high school, when you had all that free time, did you say you were pushing different projects? Or you were kind of just in that exploration, just having fun phase, and just, you know? Because I think everyone has that phase. And I think the sooner you get it, it's like, bad analogy, but it's like flushing a toilet. You get that out of the system, and then you just, like, focus on the real stuff, the real deal.
Yeah.
Do you think you even had to pass that phase, or you had to, like...
Well, what was high school like for you?
I mean, I don't know how to fully
because you transferred.
It's such a long story. I mean, I was in China, and then like we were both in SHSID. I was pretty comfortable in the system because I think the system, the thing about it is, it doesn't make you question, you know.
Yeah.
You just tag along.
You just do it.
You just do it, and then you don't really think about it, and you're just one step after the next. That's what the Matrix kind of does. You're constantly shoved with the next task, and the next task is so pressing, and it's so humongous that you don't really have time to think what else.
Right, and that's the issue I have with a lot of these things is that is that they enforce this idea of a value system on you when it's completely arbitrary. Why does it matter that you have to take like this politics class or that class and you have to get a certain level of grades and then 93 was a cutoff for like a 4.0 GPA?
Yeah.
It's completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like these people who made it up are probably like, I don't think they have particularly the best reason to do it. You know,
Yeah.
there was no like optimal way of doing it. It was arbitrary, I think.
It's definitely arbitrary, and the skill levels that are favored by the system are not necessarily what we would coin. I would coin as potential to be successful traits in like the entrepreneurial sense. Like, for example, the ability to generate ideas. It's not
rewarded.
It's not really rewarded in the system. The ability to organize people is not really rewarded in the system. The ability to lead is not reflected. The ability to like do projects well, to start things, to do like those things aren't really encouraged in that system. It's more of, okay, who can you really report orders of? Like, it produces great workers.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, workers are very limited because we're in the AI age, man.
Yeah. I feel like the system growing up was especially good at that. Producing workers.
Yeah.
And like that. But when I
mean, nothing wrong with workers. I respect the workers, but
I think worker not in the sense of like from a Marxist or classist sort of lens, but I think more in the sense of like productivity, task.
Yeah.
I think more like a task oriented in the context of a given value system you're in, and you're really good at optimizing for the task in the value system. Not necessarily like the system itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a worker. In the context of what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I think there's a sort of, maybe like we're all workers, but one can maybe think more for themselves and compute more about like what they really want, and the other is just bound to the system in a way. And I don't know, I feel like even in high school, there's still that sort of system going. It's present everywhere, college, especially, work. Internships, whatnot. I think everywhere you go, you have to accept the structure.
Work ultimately is inevitable, and everyone is sort of leading towards their sort of work. But I just think work varies so much. I mean, we were just talking with a writer, a film writer actually. We ran into him.
That was really cool, actually.
Very, very interesting interaction. But
we ran into Kumail Nanjiani, bro. Dinesh from Silicon Valley. Dude, I love that show. He was sitting right next to us. It was crazy. Him and his wife.
I mean, like, LA.
My first night landed in LA, and that's like, we see like filmmaker and then like famous actor. I'm like, okay.
And the story is, he hit me up today at 3 p.m. Texted me. He's like, "Yo, I'm in LA."
I landed today. I mean,
just landed and texted me last minute, and I canceled all my plans just to see him. But I mean, of course, always. But it's very interesting how bro took spontaneity to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to what we were saying about the filmmaker. He gave a very interesting insight on college. He was just saying.
Well, his advice in general, right? That he was saying.
Yeah.
And his name's Aaron James.
Aaron James, if you want to look.
He did a couple films, I thought. It was pretty cool.
But he was telling us.
He had that very very much like, he had that classic intellectual look with him. Like almost like a Hemingway type of intellectual.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hemingway with the laptop and with the cigar.
Well,
and I was like,
that was Notebook. It was Notebook, I thought.
No, it was a laptop.
Oh, it was a laptop?
So he was just crafting some stuff and then smoking a cigar with his suit on and then glasses and
the round glasses. And he's got a very much like the smoking the pipe with the cigar, whatnot. It's
so when you look at him from afar, you just know this is not some average dude. You gotta go up and talk to them. But I talked to him, and he gave a very interesting advice. He was saying, the best advice is to not take any advice.
Yeah.
From the first one, it doesn't make any sense. But the beauty is in so many people, when they're giving advice, they can only see it from their perspective. And whether they're coming from the best interest of you or not, still, they don't fully understand your context or your story. But you have your deeper soul to connect to, and that's where the guiding voice is. And then he's basically just suggesting us connect with that and trusting that rather than trusting all this outside things, because they don't really see you. They don't really understand you. Only you can try to understand you. And you don't even fully understand yourself. So, but he was telling me his biggest regret in his 20s was he didn't drop out early enough.
Really?
Yeah, he was saying like
I remember he was saying like he said he fucked up his 20s because he kept listening to everyone else's advice.
Yeah.
You know?
He said he wasted too much time.
Yeah. But to that point, I feel like I think advice is interesting. I think there is some distinction between different types of advice. And me personally, I always love to hear what people have to say. I think to your point, yes, I think a lot of advice in the traditional sense, in the prescriptive sense, is from one person's lived experience and perspective. So when given to you, might not fit for your exact sort of scenario. But there's a distinction, right? Some could be generalized and some could be broad. I really I quite like advice when it's like descriptive instead of prescriptive. You know, in the sense that like they detail a sort of framework, model, or like a sort of like the logic behind the mechanisms of why they reach that conclusion of that advice, right? Disregard survivors, bias or like any of that stuff, but it's the idea that they've seen the world in a certain way, and that's a new perspective, and I like that. So like, can I see the world in that way as well, and what does that give me to see it in that perspective, so I quite like that aspect of things.
Yeah, that I completely agree with, and that's why I'm doing the bigger picture, is to hear all the perspectives.
Great, yeah.
And I think ultimately he's not saying don't listen to nobody, which I think is complete bad. If you completely isolate, that's not good as well. It's more of who's the ultimate authority, right? Like, because when we are hearing all these voices, when we're trying to please other people, when we're taking people's advices too literally, we forget to kind of serve ourselves, but we're serving all these random people, and our energy becomes so distilled and so disconnected to our soul. I think there is that importance to ultimately abide in the voice. I'll call it abiding in God.
Yeah.
But because that's where the deepest connection is. That's where we know the clearest path, because ultimately the Spirit knows what's best for us.
I think intuition has a very strong role to play in a lot of cases. I once sought advice asked about lessons and mistakes from this pretty, honestly very respected, well-esteemed CEO of a great company, of many great companies actually. He was actually one of the short lists for Apple's CEO to replace Steve Jobs, which is cool. But I asked him, so like, what mistakes or lessons you've learned? And he said, honestly, there were too many mistakes to count. He said, I can't tell you a single one. There were too many mistakes I made. But he said, every single one of them, he says, always somehow came from the fact that he listened, he weighed other people's voices that drowned his own judgment. And I think what he meant by that was in two ways, One, you gotta let yourself be able to think critically, have your own independent thought, judge and weigh variables as you would, as Channing would, And the other was, at the same time, in certain scenarios, let your intuition breathe as well. And when you feel like, in the gut that something might be right or something might be that way, you should try and go about it in that feeling,
Yeah, definitely. I think ultimately it's about finding a harmony, like, because growth is how do I say? And that comes to my faith walk recently as well. It's like I've made a lot of progress in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could share a little bit, but I don't know, maybe it's like too much for me. But it's
beyond the scope of the podcast.
Beyond the scope of, yeah.
Maybe another episode.
Because it's Orthodox Christianity has this concept of theosis. Basically, what that means is like a constant. This word is synergy. Getting closer to God. It's a process of slowly becoming.
Is that related to the word apotheosis, where it's like the you know, if you go to the the rotunda of, you know,
Greek
in like DC Congress, I think there's like the huge painting at the top called the Apotheosis of George Washington. It was like he became like a saint, or like became part of God or something like that.
Maybe I need to check the Greek on that, but that could be very much related. That's what I kind of see it as. It's a constant process of slowly moving upward.
Yeah.
Getting closer through the mistakes, through the testing and failing, but we're constantly growing. I mean, assumption is if we're taking our lessons and not falling in the same river twice. Well, I mean, you gave me a quote saying you can't step in the same river twice, yeah, but it is a lifelong process of constantly. So I think it's better to be moving than not, because even if you're heading a 180 degree, like you're heading in the complete wrong direction, that's action is still better than inaction, because
you're gathering more information about the world,
and you're learning more. Yes, obviously with the intention of you're trying your best
and
to get to somewhere.
I think empirically speaking, that's also a good thing, because the world is mysterious. There's a lot of secrets out there. We don't know a lot about the universe at all. You know, especially from the context of like making life decisions, we don't really know what the universe is storing for you. And so, you know, a lot of times we make up these little coherent stories in our mind that sort of explains things the way they are. Many times it is completely false. Just not a true narrative and account of how the world works and how your life works. So I think the more you try, the more you stumble and you fall, the more information you gather, and if you can actually like analyze that in a more sort of rational way, you could sort of build a better coherent story and model around how certain things work. You know, which I think is cool.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
but I would also I also lean heavily on like, I think the intuition aspect of things a lot sometimes. There are things when you're very comfortable with doing, and you just feel like, oh, like intuitively there's something right about it, you know? Maybe in more like environments that you're used to, you know? Like if you're a trained public speaker, you know, doing like modern nations debate, it's a more intuitive thing for you to follow because you've done that before in a different way, you know? But yeah, I don't know. It goes down to, it's the interesting way of like, you know, like how do you sort of, to what extent is intuition versus critical thinking, right? And and like the idea of like,
because I think there's a difference between intuition and emotion. So here's my theory that I
think that's true.
With,
very true.
This like 2-3 months ago, and you can judge this here. But basically, I coined this. Well, the base term I just call it the BMS theory. But basically,
BMS.
Yeah, the BMS. But the body, the mind, and the soul are 3 distinct, basically like personalities working in you. And these 3 things are not in harmony. But in life and throughout our trials and everything that we do, we're slowly getting closer towards harmony. And theosis, or being saint-like, is when you truly reach harmony in this state. The quick example is, you have the intuition to start your business, right? But so that's that. I think that's your soul leading you towards that aspect. But your body could give you emotions, so like on days you feel super hyped, on days you have so much doubt, right? The body's not stable, the flesh is not stable, the emotion's not stable, it can go up and down. The mind is where you critically think, you think of the strategies, you think of the pros and cons, you weigh all these things. But obviously the mind can adopt as well. So it's like it's three things, but I think the soul ultimately is stable. Like the intuition is always there. Like for me, I always know I want to do some form of content or just some sort of output out there, and I know I want to learn. Yeah. Like I know, like regardless of where I'm at, regardless of what I'm doing, the intuition is always present there. Yeah. But I could get too caught up with my emotions and I forget about it, or too caught up
over planning
and overthinking
and like planning fallacy.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's very fascinating. It's like, you know, I think the body and the mind is what trips us a lot in a lot of these instances. But when we can truly keep those two quiet and follow the spirit, the soul.
Interesting.
Like that's the theory that I came up with. Is the BMS theory is like how do we reach that harmony state?
That's very interesting, actually. I mean, I think we were kind of talking about this slightly earlier about long-term thinking and short-term thinking. Like there are certain things you can control in the long term. You know, long-term tasks, and there are certain things you can control, you cannot control in the long term. Short tasks, like in the short-term prediction, you're more likely to have a higher chance of like succeeding and controlling what you can. In the long term, it's like very difficult because the number of variables just exponentially increase, and you just have no really such a big idea about what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in a company, but it's interesting because you think about the long-term thing. What you can control is like, okay, maybe like the people you bring in, the culture you set, the general direction where you want to go. Right. I mean, like what? Like we want to build a de facto infrastructure for all of interplanetary resource extraction and refinement for humanity. Right. You know, okay, you can aim for that one, and then but there are things you can't really control, like sort of like okay, this specific roadmap product, when does this thing come out, or that. Yeah. You know,
like how much revenue you're gonna hit, and these things.
It depends on the time. It depends on many things, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing.
Controllable. Yeah.
So what I'm curious about with your BMS idea or theory is that what is harmony to begin with? How does that, you know, work in relation to like time? But I mean, what is harmony?
I think harmony, the concept, you can connect it with the Chinese concept of Taoism, of the Wu Wei, in the sense like you are one with nature, you're present, you're flowing. Right? The Orthodox Christians talk about harmony a lot. Yeah. Theosis, it's connected with harmony, in the sense that where our will becomes godlike, in the sense like it is in perfect harmony in God's will. So there's a Bible verse that talks about it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me, in the sense that our will aligns perfectly. So there's that perfect harmony. When I say harmony, I think the best way is when, you know, there's also another concept called 知行合一. You know,
I know, yeah, Wyoming,
right? He talks about that. That's also harmony. When your mind and your actions are united into one, which is modern people talk about mindfulness and these things. I think all of these things are connected. You look at all these philosophers. You look at what Buddha is saying about ridding all your desires. Why do you rid all your desires? Because when you rid all your desires, you strip all these distractions. You're in harmony. I think all of them are trying to describe harmony in some way, shape, form. And I think in all of these religions / philosophical thinking, there comes back to the point of, okay, I stop trusting in the body, in the emotions, and stop thinking too much, and just basically just live with the flow. Yeah. And the flow, I would say, is just like, I call it the will of God. Yeah. What is the will of God? Is the flow of time. Time is, time is always flowing, and there seems to be a nudge, and everyone feels a nudge going some way, some shape, some place, some form. Yeah. If everyone is doing that, the world will be in perfect harmony. But the thing is, we don't do that. We try to abuse our free will. but that doesn't end up doing good.
I think harmony is more like it's kind of like I don't know if harmony is like a state of equilibrium you reach, or if it's more of like an emergent behavior of substates, you know. Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting.
Elaborate a little bit.
Well, from that perspective, you reach like a hypothesized harmonious state. You know, is it first of all, like, is the progression like linear? Like, how does the progression work to reach that state?
One point from here to there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's linear, but I think there is a draw.
Right.
But I don't think it's like you don't get there. I think oftentimes it's like I think harmony is the perfection, right? The perfect state. I think we touch it at times, right? When an athlete is super locked in, they enter the full state. I think that is when they touch this harmony state. Right, when musicians are locked in, when artists are like you when you're doing your business, when you're creative, and you're touching these states. But the thing is, it's like
they say that flow state is like one of the best experiences in life.
Yeah, right. And I think that is exactly harmony. When your body and your mind and your soul. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the thing. It's a practice. It's a discipline.
Yeah.
If someone can be in the state constantly, that's good. But it is hard because
how do you do that? How do you propose it? How do you become in that state?
And that's why it comes back to, I think, why I am in the Christian faith is the separation of us and this perfect harmony state. I think sin is very real. Sin is just like disobedience to God, like our inclination to disobey this sort of ultimate will. That's a human inclination. Like, we want to be our own gods. We want to determine our own fate. We don't want to trust in this harmony. We want to figure everything out ourselves. We don't want to trust. We want to plan out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and like the Bible talks about a state of where someone is like they don't even worry about tomorrow. They're just like all they care about is just today because tomorrow will take care of itself. That's the highest state is if you can reach that state.
Well, I think it's interesting because you technically, I think there's an expert error when it comes to judgment. Like a lot of people think that they can predict events over long horizons, and you can see the error rates even for experts. You know, go up and up and up the longer the years. And if you put like a more simple algorithm, like Occam's razor, you know, like just very simple sort of like heuristic, you know, like weighted probabilities added together, average that, whatever, that probably performs more accurately.
Yeah. Than
like, you know, a human sort of expert judgment over a long horizon.
Yeah.
Even though obviously it diminishes as well, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's, who knows, you know, maybe one day you'll invent a machine that like sort of understands every single aspect of the universe and life, and is by some deterministic or mechanical way you can predict things or move forward with it. But I highly doubt that the world is deterministic.
It's impossible because free will ultimately does exist. I believe so.
I'd like to think so as well.
You like to think so? You don't believe that free, or like you don't fully believe it? Why you say you'd like to think
so? There's no way to empirically like
determine free will.
There's very strong arguments for and against
free will.
Yeah.
I mean,
they both kind of make sense to me. I think at the end of the day, I choose to believe that I have free will. Because I think choosing to believe I have free will actually gives me more free will. Yeah.
So
an agency, like literally, you believe you have agency, and then you realize you actually do have agency.
Yeah.
You know, like you dropping out of college to do soccer, right?
Yeah, I think everyone has a certain level of free will. Like, we're constantly making choices. I mean, I could slap you in the face right now, like that.
Yeah.
That goes against every single condition that I've been through.
Yeah.
But I can still do that, right
Yeah.
now. I have
Don't
to,
do that.
of course, I don't do that. But there is that possibility.
Yeah.
And to say that possibility doesn't exist is, I disagree. I think, because if you approach it from a complete naturalistic perspective and say, well, there's nothing except for biology, then okay, I can see how you can come to a deterministic point of view. But that's why I think humans are not just naturalistic. There's something more.
I mean, maybe consciousness is like an emergent behavior.
Yeah, like scientists still fail to
representation.
explain consciousness fully. You can explain neuroscience, but you can't really explain consciousness.
I wouldn't.
Consciousness and
You know, me personally, I don't really see like the failure of explaining something by science as like a meaningful way to like deny the science of it. It just means it haven't been explained yet.
Yeah, okay,
Right?
I agree, but I'm just pointing out that consciousness is much more complicated.
It is very complicated. It's very complex.
Think, right? Because I think from a complete naturalistic perspective, there's no BMS. There's just one will. You're just one human body. You have one will. You wouldn't have all this wrestle. You wouldn't have all this pain. You wouldn't have all this desires. You would be in perfect harmony because you only have one will.
What does that mean, though? What does that mean? Like one will. What does that mean?
One will in the sense that you don't, like, I would go against my animalistic nature to do things. For example, if I completely abide by my naturalistic point of view, I should go mate with any woman I come to encounters. I wouldn't want to get married because I'm excluding my mating options with all these people by excluding myself with one woman. But if you look at human history, there are people who marriage is across all cultures, first of all, and second of all, there are people who willingly chose to be celibate.
Do you think that in ancient
It goes
times,
against the animal nature.
there's also a lot of like in ancient times like sex, and there's a lot of like polygamy and a lot of like stuff going on like that. A lot of times, more spousal partners, or in history at least, ancient China, parts of the Middle East, Rome. In certain parts, they had very liberal sex at one point in time. Stopped doing that a while later, but I feel like having more spouses and more partners and more mates in a way was like a demonstration of power. Back in the days, and I think it was very animalistic in that sense.
But that's what I mean. There's something that seems to be higher than the animalistic sense that would instruct us to not do that. Which is
maybe
morality.
it's more of
But you could
instead
think
of morality,
it's cultural.
Maybe instead of morality, it was just a constraint of resources, right? If
No,
there was
like,
10
if
men
you
for
talk
every
about
woman, or there was 10 women for every man, then every man would have 10 women, and every woman would have 10 men. You know what I'm saying?
But the reality
It's 50-50.
is no. But nowadays is you see that people, even despite having options, will willingly sacrifice these things.
Well, that's just how we're meant to think, like culturally speaking.
But okay, so I'm saying like this goes beyond culture in the sense like.
I'm not a polygamist or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm a
But I'm not
monogamous,
saying.
but
Yeah.
I'm just. That was
Okay, but no, that's a good point that you point out. But I like to just point out and say, I think to not be polygamist and go monogamous, you could say it's cultural, but I could say it's also come from a concept of love, a concept of true love, by definition excluding all these. Like I think love and lust are two different concepts, even though they both result in sex. But
love doesn't have to result in sex.
Love doesn't have to result in sex at times, but they're two radically different.
Romantic love, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm talking about romantic love, but but I think love is something that is more complicated than the animalistic sense. Because, for example, a very easy example, someone would willingly self-sacrifice their life for other people. That you see that time and time again. You see that in like soldiers, right? You see that in firefighters. You see that in nurses, or you see that in, just like throughout history, like
that doesn't conflict with
self-sacrifice.
like polygamy though. That doesn't
No. What I'm trying to point out is people going against their animalistic nature. People would go against that. So that
I just some animals may sacrifice themselves to save others.
But you don't see that quite often. You don't really see that nature or instinct. You don't see that. But in humans, you do see that quite often. That spirit of not fleeing when danger is present.
I'm gonna say like two things here. Mm-hmm. Number one, on the perspective of like how society comes to become a more monogamous structure, I think it is, maybe if it's determined by God, because why is it 50-50? You know, that's quite interesting. Why is it one man and one woman? It's like you have half a chance, like 50-50, right, for being a girl or boy, which I think is interesting. Is it because there's only two, well, actually, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Of course, there is two genders. We're on a channel of truth. There are two genders. Come on, heretics, you come up the channel and let's debate.
I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Two genders, two biological genders. Okay, let's keep it.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But look, like the male sex and female sex.
No, but how is it that we fear to speak truth nowadays? Like,
well,
biological.
We can get into that later.
No, but like
we can get into. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But look, 50-50, right? However it is. And maybe it's just because that's how it, you know. But maybe, yeah, it's interesting to think about the biology of that. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but I think it's quite interesting to think why that it's like. Why is it that like it's like it's a pair? You know, why can't you have 3 people or like to have a baby? You know, you need like 3 people or 4 people to have sex together to have a baby. You know, why is it just 2 people? You know, why can't there's even like self-producing organisms. They have kids like, they produce like copies of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, which I thought was really cool. But humans are somehow just structured in this way. So it's like part of like the whole evolutionary chain. I think that's like structured in such a way, which I find interesting. But nonetheless, like just consider for a second that it's like that's for some reason it's still one-on-one having sex and have a kid, but the scale and the probability rate of like people being born in different generations completely skewed, right? You have 1 man, and then for every 1 man born there was like 10 women, you know? Then I think it would be normal to have like 10 spouses.
Okay, if that is the case, then sure. But that's the thing, is we cannot go against reality.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, of course. I agree with that. That's a good hypothetical.
I'm not finished yet.
Okay.
I'm saying this is not a result of some preordained, predetermined thing. Because you can imagine how a different scenario like this could play out. And then 1 man could have 10 different women.
But it's
Wait, listen. 1 man could have 10 different women, whatever. And 1 woman could have 10 different men, whatever. And then because of that fact, biological fact, we construct a culture around it. And then culture brings things like morality or whatever view you have nowadays. And then we think, it's like, and then it's like, fine, like.
So you believe morality is cultural?
Yeah.
So
I think morality is subjective. I think morality is cultural a lot of times.
More relativism.
Sure. Maybe.
Okay, I completely disagree with that notion, because would killing an innocent baby be right in circumstances?
In ancient Sparta, they used to kill.
Is that correct?
To the Spartans, it was correct.
No, but from a moral standpoint.
But what is a moral standpoint? Like, obviously, I'm not gonna kill an innocent baby.
That's the thing. Like, we can't even define morality nowadays.
You can't. There's no way. You can't. No.
That's the thing. No, that's the thing. Like, we refuse to face reality when we both know that killing an innocent baby is evil, but you wouldn't admit it. It's like the same thing.
I'm
When it comes to gender,
wait.
there's two genders. You
wait.
wouldn't admit it, right? There's facts laying out on the table. Killing an innocent baby is evil.
I'm not
you
saying.
refuse to admit it.
No, it is. No, listen.
But that's a
I would
liberal
personally-
ideology that's completely demolished.
No, wait, it's
society.
not. I would never kill an innocent baby. Okay, I think
Me personally, why does this have to be personally?
because I don't think I can't be the arbiter of universal truth.
But but like we both know it's false. It's evil. Like when you know it's evil, it is evil. Like I don't see how
Look, debating.
you can justify it.
We can use another example for this. Killing an innocent baby is it's a moral, it's a red herring. It's like obviously, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, it
Look.
is evil, yeah. But okay, I understand. You're like, okay, how about we draw up a gray area?
Or no, not even. I think just in general, when it comes, it's a bit, like just for the sake of debate,
Mhm.
for the spirit of argument,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For what do you want to point out? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, I was gonna make another point earlier. I think about we were mentioning the morality of things.
Mhm.
I think about that, and then there was a second part that you mentioned as well. I forgot which one.
Gender?
No, it was not. It was not that. I don't even know what
Okay.
the hell's going on with that these days. I don't really think about that very much.
No, but okay, but I'm just asking you. Don't care about political whatever.
No, you know me.
But
I don't care about.
But biologically speaking, there's only two genders. We both know that. How can
Right.
you be biologically X, Y, Y, Z, F, J, K? I don't even know what's going on. It's not true. But see, I think the thing is, people nowadays are so afraid to speak what is in front of them because they fear the consequences of man canceling them. But that's why you may not believe me when I say this, but I think there is I call it demonic influences in the world, in the sense that there are ideologies that are straight up garbage but is promoted. You may think that I'm just yapping, but I think there are garbage ideology that's being promoted, shoved down people's throat.
Let's consider ideology a property or behavior,
Mhm.
emergent property of cultures,
Mhm.
and civilizations
Mhm.
in general.
Mhm.
I don't think that every civilization is born equal in that sense. When you validate them
Mhm.
on a scale,
Mhm.
you could clearly assign values at specific points in time in comparison
Mhm.
to see which civilization has better technology,
Mhm.
better this, more developed philosophy,
Yeah,
science,
sure,
things
sure.
like that, right?
Mhm.
So I don't think necessarily that you could treat cultures as equal,
Mhm.
and therefore, sort of maybe you could extend upon that and say, and I don't know, if maybe you could say that you could extend upon that and say not all ideologies
Mhm.
are born equal in that sense, right?
Okay, so but what, that's not my claim. But see, I think the thing is you're assuming. I think it is an assumption to assume that everything leads back to God, because if we don't believe in God, if we don't have the center core of truth, we would just spiral all over the place. I think that
you're
is
just
the
using
problem.
God as a substitute for some sort of social glue.
I don't.
It could be
consider
it could
as
be
a social
replaced
glue.
with any other. It could be replaced with another form of a being.
No, God ultimately. Okay, so first of all, God equals capital T truth, because that is the ultimate unchanging thing in this world. Or you could say ultimate T truth is God. Either way.
I can see how some people could believe that for sure.
Because if so, first of all, we can go on into all these debates about whether we are created or whether we just spawn out of accidents. And I think it makes more sense that there is a creator behind the world than we're just mere accidents, because even the probabilities of us just spawning by accidents and everything falling in line and to our exact points, if everything is an accident, the probability is like 0.0.
If you scale enough accidents, if you scale enough occurrences in general, over a very long period of time.
First of all,
almost whatever can happen will happen.
No, but that's not a good argument. That's just like saying, well, let me just draw an infinite line, and therefore I just trust the process to work out. But here's the thing: I slammed this computer down, threw it out of the hotel, and let it fall. I can let it drop 10 billion times, 10 trillion times.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll fall and then disassemble and then assemble again. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, you're talking about completely different.
No, but I am talking about. But this is the thing: is you're assuming everything is falling into the right place for us to find a perfect computer to function right now. Because our human bodies are so magnificent. Like studying biology, I think the more we look at our human body, the more we become fascinated, the more we become. More we realize, oh wait, this is the level accident goes down, because from your taste, from your eyesight, from your retinas, like how everything functions, of how your body functions, how your breath, like at night, even if your one part of your cell malfunctions, you could just pass out in your dream, but you wake up every single day and you're functioning. And you could do all these crazy things. You can get injured athletically, you can recover. You could do all these things and you can recover. And
I think we're looking at this from like you're looking at this from like if P then Q exists, then P therefore must be true. But that's a logical fallacy.
I did not say that. That's not
what you're implying, though.
No, but that's not my. Okay. Well, first of all,
you're looking at the end state, and you're saying there's a.
Well, link. but Q is so sophisticated that there's no better explanation than P. That is what I'm claiming. I'm not saying it, therefore it is P, but I'm saying P is the best explanation.
I would say evolution is a pretty good explanation too.
But evolution begs a question: how do life spiral upwards, like upgrade? In the sense,
change environment.
No. But we don't see genetics. What's the word? Like advancing. Like even when we see.
Do you know the mitochondria apparently used to be a separate cell?
No, but when we observe genetic mutations, it's always been downgrading, not upgrading.
That's not true.
Like look at all the evidences of the research. Why is evolution still a theory? Why is evolution still a theory? Because, like, name me one animal. Like, I hate when we're getting into evolution, but name me.
I didn't expect this to become a theological discussion in any sense, but
we ended up talking about morality. But
yeah, keep going.
But name me one animal that observed change from one species to another species. Like no.
Yeah, wait.
I'm dead serious.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm being dead serious. Give me one example.
Chimpanzee to humans?
No, but really, has it been observed? Observed.
Wait, you gotta go back to millions.
No. See, but that's an assumption that millions of years exist. This whole framework is based on assumption. Nothing is observed. We saw fossils, and we were there's that fossil, therefore X leads to Y. That is the
what? I would agree with you on the fact. I would agree with you on the fact that causation.
I'm asking a very valid question.
I know. I would agree with you that causation is.
No, but the funny thing is people think I'm tripping now.
Wait, no, let me.
Yeah.
Let me just say my point.
Okay.
I would agree with you that causation could simply be an illusion of two things occurring at this, in rapid succession of each other, kind of like what David Hume was saying. You know, if you bite into an apple and it tastes like an apple, then you assume that it tastes like an apple. But who knows? You bite into it again, it might taste like roast beef the next time, right?
I I don't necessarily understand what that analogy was to me. What are you talking about?
Okay, so the idea is that so your whole point was that like evolution is based on ideas of what causation is like, right? You're assuming that one form evolves into another, and it's like a link, right? It blah, 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 keeps growing at some point at each point in time.
Well, it's based off of a bunch of assumptions and a bunch of
assumption of
probabilical
causes and consequences.
But there is assumptions because a lot of these things are you have to agree that most of these things are unobserved by assumptions. Even prominent scientists would agree. Literally, prominent scientists would agree that there is a lot of assumptions in this process.
I'm just saying. I'm just asking you. Like, are you like doubting? Like, are you casting doubt on the idea of causation?
Is evolution a reality or is evolution a theory? That's a question. Is evolution a reality or is evolution a theory?
Genetic mutations is a reality. It's been shown that in the different environments
but genetic
that you can cause
mutations doesn't upgrade. Like I said, you could do the research on that. I've done the research, bro. We grew up in SHSID. We went through the same education. We were both taught evolution theory, right? But evolution is still a theory nowadays. It's not proven.
It's probably still a theory.
Yeah. Why is it? If it's so like
just because
so ridiculous, someone questions
a
theory. Like I just simply question the theory. I'm just saying like, well, is
I don't think it's called a theory of evolution because of a lack of evidence, but rather as a general framework of thought.
No,
it's like utility theory, prospect theory. They're theories because it's a framework of things. Like how you could say how God created the world, that's a theory too.
Okay, no, so we come to the
theories is just a nomenclature. In this case,
but the thing is, it's not fully 100% proven.
I'm literally
this goes to my point. Then we can come to the evidences.
You're questioning the causation of things.
No, but I raised the evidences. You don't find genetic mutation. I'm being dead serious. Like you don't find genetic mutations upgrading.
Yes, you do.
No, give me examples.
In Chernobyl, after the radiation, you find fish and animals that are more resistant to radiation, react to doses that would have caused cancer in them.
No, that's like selection. That's the same species.
That's selection.
That
selection
survived.
is part of it.
No, but that's the same species. Did they change species? They just adapted. Adaptation is different. Adaptation is completely different than the idea of the modern concept of evolution.
But like I think it's just kind of a folly to think about because the iteration speed is so slow on these things. Let me do a thought experiment. You observe each generation change over different quantities and environments over 1 million years. Mm-hmm. You can trace every generation. Okay? Then you could probably find evolution to be true at one point in time.
Okay, so but
I'm not denying. But back to basics. I'm not denying God exists.
Okay.
God probably at some point in time.
No, like I still want to wrestle with this topic because I think it's
or like a higher power.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but see the thing is, I just think we're so quick. Like I was the same thing. I firmly believed in evolution. I think everyone who didn't believe evolution was an absolute joke. But until
That's not what I think.
Huh?
That's not what I think.
Okay, yeah, but I said that's what I was thinking until I actually looked into the research, started critical thinking myself, asking these questions, these hard questions. If evolution is so absolutely real, why does someone ask me, okay, find me these like we can't really find necessarily evidence, and the only evidence we can throw on the table is just give it enough time and we can tell. That's the best evidence.
I'm not saying that the theory of evolution is the best theory.
But there is a lot of evidence towards the Noah's Ark flood. Okay, there are actually evidences towards that.
I think there was a flood.
Okay, and if the flood truly exists, right? It's a very simple like question. First of all, dinosaurs. Okay. I can't believe I'm talking
dinosaurs, dude.
Okay, no, but this is a very real question.
Yeah.
Think about it for a second. How fast do human bones decompose?
I don't know.
like bones decompose, right? Human bones decompose after you leave it there.
I don't know. I thought it's like the calcium structure leaves it intact for a long time.
Yeah, but to think that after 200 million years it still completely intact. I mean,
what is the
dinosaurs existed 200 million years ago supposedly, but their bones are perfectly intact. If it truly
rocks
was 200
existed 200 million years ago?
No, but if truly they were 200 million years ago, shouldn't they have decomposed?
Were they 200 million years ago?
About, I don't know. Like, we need to look up the specific numbers.
Well, I'm not a
geologist.
I'm not a bone guy, bone scientist.
No, but I'm just asking. These are questions to be asked. These are questions to be asked. Because you know about Nephilims?
Netflix.
No, Nephilims. No one really talks about it. But Nephilims, actually there are articles and research done on Nephilims, which are giants. Giant humans. We don't even talk about it, but there has been research done on that. But at a certain point in 1900 or something, they got completely eradicated. They stopped research. The CIA stopped funding that. All of a sudden, they were canceled.
The CIA didn't exist in early 19.
No, 1980s or something. Like, I need to get my complete resources right. But what I'm saying is, they discovered there are artifacts on these things. There's archaeological research on Nephilims. And then they found these bones. But then all of a sudden, they stopped the research. What's going on?
I'm confused. How does this connect to dinosaurs 200 million years ago?
Okay, but all I'm saying is, I don't know if you can call it a theory or maybe this is a reality, but they took these bones from Nephilims and reconstructed it into
dinosaurs?
Because they are giants.
I don't see how dinosaurs have a pertinent to a story of evolution.
Everything that I'm saying is connected in the sense that I'm questioning everything, right? Because if 200 million years, like, first of all, like, fossils, if they didn't decompose in 200 million years, that would seem very abstract to me. Second of all, so I'm casting doubt on the.
There's a lot of things that don't decompose over 200 million years. Mountains still there,
But that's an assumption. No, but even with a flood, you can see how a tectonic plate shift.
Okay, then you can apply the same argument. It's you assume that there was a flood. How do you know there was actually a flood?
But because there's actually evidence. They found seashells on.
Okay, then you can do the same thing about all these questions.
No, but there's evidence. I'm going based on evidence, saying there's evidences of these things. There's evidence.
I think you're selectively choosing evidence of what you want to think about.
I'm not selectively choosing evidence. I didn't deny any other evidence.
Okay, so you applied the same scientific techniques, and you realized that fossils, maybe they existed. They did exist 200 million years ago.
We are assuming 200 million years existed. That's an assumption.
You're assuming that there was a flood. I'm not denying there was a flood. I think there's overwhelming archaeological evidence there was a flood. Just like how there's overwhelming archaeological evidence that these guys existed 200 million years ago. Carbon dating is a thing.
Carbon dating, but see, carbon dating is if we go about carbon dating like in this.
And that kind of brings me back to the earlier thing what I was mentioning with like the hume and the roast beef thing. Was like, I don't know if you're questioning the evidence. I don't know if you're questioning the idea of assumption, or I don't know if you're questioning the idea of causation.
Questioning evidence. I'm not questioning the evidence. I'm not questioning I'm questioning the conclusion drawn from these things. Okay. And obviously the evidence itself, it's like the way they drew it, is problematic because if you look at carbon dating, I mean, this is an endless conversation, and this is something that I don't know if I can fully prove or fully wrestle out with in this lifetime. But I'm just saying, the fact that we are so quick to think, as part of the education system, which we both agree that there are certain flaws in it.
Yeah, I mean, expert blindness is a real thing,
Yeah, but then
for 300 years, it didn't question Bernoulli's theory of utils. 300 years, it's clearly flawed, but he didn't question it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
That's true, yes.
No, but like the thing is, like, I think these questions are valid. I think these evidences are out there. There's a lot of evidences that would point to, I think, the biblical narrative, the biblical history of what actually happened. There's evidences for it. So I'm just saying, if that...
I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think that, like, the Bible was written by a bunch of people that observed these events happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if that is the case, yeah, like, I just think it is historically reliable, but that will point towards a creator.
Yeah.
But again,
Interesting.
It's a lot of conversation. I know it's going definitely derailed, and I'm not an expert
I enjoyed this conversation. It was fun.
No, like, I'm just saying, we gotta ask these questions. No one asks these questions, but when you ask it, I look an absolute fool when I start asking these questions. Like, people are like, bro, you don't believe in evolution, bro? Like, dude, I'm just asking a valid question.
It's good. Good.
It's interesting. Like,
I think it's great to be asking those questions.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you have to. I think sometimes, like, there's just a lot of scientific evidence.
No, but find me all the evidences. That's what I'm saying. Let's put all the evidences on the table. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying put all the evidences on the table and then assess it to the degree.
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating how, like, I'm here literally begging for evidences, and then, but every evidence.
I was telling you all those things, dude.
No, but I was telling you how those things don't stand.
But you did not tell me how those things don't stand.
Okay, like what? Like, you brought up chimpanzees.
What?
And I gave you the.
No, I was pointing out that the way you think, there was a logical flaw in the construction of your argument. You know, and I would like, it's the if P then Q fallacy, and then, like, I'm not quite sure at the end what you were pointing to, whether you're questioning the circumstance, the evidence that was there, you're questioning the idea that causation can exist as an actual thing for chain of thought reasoning, or that, like, you know, like, the fundamental assumptions are wrong, but the assumptions are very much tied to the evidence of which we base it off of, you know? So when you say assumption, that makes me think more like you're thinking like the conclusion is wrong. But what I'm telling you is that when you have a set of evidence and then you have a series of logical causations, which we believe evidence to be true, if we believe causation to be true, then we analyze how the argument progresses, and then we can talk about the validity of the argument itself in a logical way, right? And then we can talk about whether the conclusion is true or false, right? That's what I'm saying, right? But what I'm saying is that what we're seeing so far, evidence is good. I believe that the idea of scientific causation is a thing.
Which we can break down the evidences and say, like, what does it lead to?
No, we could, right? And I could ask the same for you, and I could ask you the exact same questions back. You know, I think.
But the thing is, there. Okay, yeah, I know it can be about. Like, I think
it's a very circular thing.
I don't know if it's necessarily circular, but the causation thing relies on the heavy assumption that there's an infinite amount of time that we could get to play with.
What?
That if we draw time long.
That's not true. That's not what a causation is about.
Well, not infinite, but like a very long period of time that we can play with. If we draw time long enough, we would assume, okay, maybe if I see this.
Causation is just if P then Q.
If P then Q. No, I'm talking about, like, we're talking about evolution stuff, right?
No, I'm talking about causation as a matter of fact principle in general.
Yeah.
Like a logical thing. It's an implication.
Yeah. If P then Q.
Yeah, I mean, by, you know, it could be a double implication. It could be. It's like,
yeah. I agree. If P
you
then Q.
push. Yeah. Pops out. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, cool. Okay,
but
great. You were kind of disagreeing with that earlier, but
I never disagree with the if P and Q.
Okay, cool. I was just a bit confused because you were saying all these things. I was trying to pinpoint exactly what you were talking about.
Well,
But
these
guys
a bunch of questions.
That's just
I raised a bunch of questions.
Like what are we questioning?
Yeah. Everything.
Great.
Okay, maybe you want me to give specific attacks and, like,
great.
You know, like Kashrei out arrows, like, just shooting everything. No, but Random example. Okay. No, but back to
That's
morality.
great. That's good.
Oh yeah. No, I'm questioning all these things from all sorts of perspectives. From if you talk about the evidences, okay, there are questions raised through the evidences. If you talk about evidence leading.
Do you think the Earth is flat?
No. Okay. I mean, I know some people believe it. I mean, to be honest though, like there are a lot of things that we can't just say for so certain that we know for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I think that's getting me to like I am holding and
No, but you have to understand which ones you are good to doubt, which ones are not. It's like you don't doubt the laws of physics because that's universally true.
Yeah, of
You
course.
can't doubt the law of, society and like principles and values, etc., because that is, it's not like a physical impossibility, right?
Yeah.
And you could question how things are done,
Mm-hmm.
like engineering, etc.,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But like, there are certain things. I mean, you could question old laws and rules and such,
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, even physics it's a constantly renewed process.
yeah, it is.
I mean, the theory of relativity questioned Newton. I mean,
Yes.
does that mean Newton wasn't perfect. Newton saw a pattern, but it's constantly there's
You're constantly evolving.
progress.
Exactly, I agree.
Right? I completely agree with that concept, but I think the moment we stagnate, which is product of the modern education, is when we're shut down these things and then we assume it's true, even though it's a theory. It's just a theory, but someone who doesn't even believe that theory are looked at as clowns, and that to me looks like a very specific.
I don't think
targeted.
I think a theory is just a framework for evaluating how things work in the world.
Mhm.
It's just a framework.
Yeah,
to explain things.
So it should be taught as just a framework, and then we should have been taught like all the.
It
other
is being taught
frameworks.
as a framework.
No, it's being shoved down people's throat, and if someone who doesn't believe that, they're literally looked at as clowns. Like literally, when I walked out of China and I came here and I was asking people and debating, and there are people who literally didn't believe in evolution. I thought they were clowns. I thought they were actually goons. Oops. Like I think that is.
There you go.
I think that's interesting. But anyways, back to bigger picture podcast. Back to the bigger picture podcast. Thank you for
Dude,
hopping on.
I'm sorry, bro. I completely just melted onto the sofa. I'm back.
Thank you for hopping on this episode of Bigger Picture Podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
I don't know how we ended up all the way over there.
It's so
I
honored.
wanted to talk business with you.
It's
but we
honored,
ended up talking about evolution, bro.
Dude, it's an honor to be an inaugural guest on the BPP once again.
Yeah.
You should cut out the part where I was just lying here. Maybe just keep it audio.
I don't know. We'll see what the editors do with the videos. But
I'm scared. I'm actually scared.
Nah, I think you're fine. But what would you say after this conversation is something that there's any takeaway, any changes to your perspective? I think the bigger picture podcast ultimately is about. I don't necessarily would come out to say I have the fullness of the truth, or I wouldn't say you would make that claim as well. I just think we're drawn closer to truth.
Yeah.
Both. Like we're both drawn closer to truth. Right.
I think what I'm gonna say that I took away from this is that I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna read research papers on the theory of evolution.
Interesting.
And I'm also gonna take a look at how long dinosaur bones last.
No, look at the Nephilims, bro.
Definitely. I was also looking at Nephilims. I'm also looking at Nephilims.
I can't believe that's how our conversation ended up. That's so interesting.
I love it. It's always a pleasure chatting. It's always a pleasure.
We yap about everything, bro.
Dude, this is what I enjoy as well. It's we have very different perspectives on certain things. I think you can still respect it and have an intellectual debate or question about it.
That's good.
Which is a conversation, which
That's
I think
good.
the world needs.
The world needs. Not just when you say there's two genders, people start slamming in the face. Like, come on, bro.
I don't know how that works scientifically, but like, I don't know.
Okay, I respect that.
I'm gonna read more into it.
I respect
If the
that.
science says there's like 2, then there's 2.
Science does point towards 2.
If science says there's more, maybe there's more.
There might be exceptions. Okay, we can give it the benefit of the doubt.
I just think that the whole like gender thing has become a bit of a red herring for like political and social attacks.
Mhm.
I don't think it's actually that deep in general.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
Like,
But see, the issue is when
It's
you
like a
start
symptom.
realizing that these are the things that are being so prominent in society. What are they trying to lead us away from? Because attention is controlled. People's attention is not just like. Do you think politics is just like, oh, it's a result of people? Oh shoot, I might actually get canceled, bro. But do you think it's just a mere result of people just asking, like, just is that what people really wanted to talk about, or is it because like some people made them talk about it and made it so loud that the real stuff aren't being discussed? Like, where's the money going? Where's the tax money going? Where's the? Okay, that's too deep.
Good questions, bro. Good questions.
But it's valid questions. Why are we talking about the most useless garbage and spending days debating on what is a woman? Whereas there are
I don't know why we
real
keep going
issues.
back to this thing.
No, because it's so annoying that it's a real present issue that is constantly being debated by both sides. Like, why? Like, dude, there are so many more issues that we need to talk about. Like Nephilims, bro. No one talks about Nephilims, bro. That's what we're talking about.
Nephilims.
Something I learned is wow. I mean, great conversation, bro.
Yeah.
I need to read more, man. I'm learning
too.
from you.
Me
I
too.
need to read so
I need
much
to read more
You're
as well.
quoting people left and right. I need to get to that level.
No, I'm not. I gotta read
I
more.
respect that.
I gotta read
respect
more.
that
I
a lot.
gotta read more.
I respect that a lot, man.
Thank you.
But anyways,
Go. All right. Check it off.
check it out.
Check it out.
I'll see you in the next episode.
Let's
Bye
go.
How do I?
Dude, bro, dude, you're gonna